someone with the standing to hold both sides accountable later. An oath, by its nature, borrowed authority from something above it. But there was nothing above the one who made this particular promise. No greater name to swear by, no higher court to appeal to if either side reneged, no elder at any gate qualified to referee it. So the promise stood on nothing but itself, sworn by the only party who had ever had the standing to make it, needing no outside witness, because there was no outside anything left to call as one. That is not a detail Scripture hides. It is the reason this covenant has outlasted every treaty modeled after it. You are not, first, the sum of the promises you have broken. That is worth saying twice. The version of yourself you carry around most days has already decided otherwise. It has already filed every unkept resolution, every apology you meant and then failed to live up to. Every relationship where you said, "never again," and then did it again, into a single running record labeled proof. Proof of what, exactly? Proof that you cannot be trusted with a covenant. Proof that if the terms really were even, your side would have collapsed the whole thing years ago. You have built an entire self-portrait out of the gap between what you promised and what you delivered, and you have been quietly grading your worth to me by the width of that gap, as though closing it were the price of staying kept. Some of you keep this record somewhere almost literal. A note on your phone titled, with a date from January, that still has 11 unchecked lines under it. A drawer with a card you meant to send and never did. A conversation you have rehearsed apologizing for so many times that the apology itself has started to feel like the failure. You know exactly how many times you have said the sentence, "I'm going to be different this time," and meant it fully in the moment, and watched it dissolve by the weekend. I know the number too. That number has not once changed how I feel about keeping what I already settled with you, and it never had the power to. That is the whole hinge of this. Go back further than the phone note, if you can stand to. There was likely a smaller version of this same logic, planted long before you had a mortgage, or a marriage to protect, a pinky promise made and broken at 8 years old, a friend who moved away with your favorite toy still on loan, a Sunday school teacher who told you God keeps a book with your name in it, and let you imagine, without meaning to, that the book had a column for debits. You learned early that grown-up love came with fine print, even when nobody used those words, so your own vows started slipping. A diet abandoned by February, a gym membership auto-paying for a treadmill you have not touched since spring, a promise to call your mother every week that quietly became every month. You did not just feel disappointed. You felt like you were adding another entry to a book already sitting open somewhere with your name on the cover. Some of you made the promise at a bedside. You said it to someone who was running out of time to hear it. "I will change. I will be there. I will make this right." Then the room went quiet. The months went on, and the change came slower than the grief did. You have replayed that vow more than any other you have made, not because they held you to it, because they never got the chance to. That one sits differently in the ledger. Heavier, older, filed under a name you still cannot say casually. I was in that room. I heard the promise. I heard what was underneath it too, the part you could not say with them looking at you. Neither one became the measure of you, not then, not since, and some of you are still inside a vow you cannot get free of, a commitment made in a season that no longer exists, to a version of yourself that no longer exists either. You keep it out of duty now, not love, and you carry a private shame about the difference. I know which promises you are keeping on fumes. I have not confused endurance with coldness. The feeling was not what certified the faithfulness. It still is not. Notice too when the audit tends to run loudest. Not in the middle of a busy afternoon, when there is enough noise around you to drown it out. But late, when the house has gone quiet and there is nothing left to distract you from your own accounting. You lie there, and the ledger opens on its own. Every unkept word, every version of yourself you promised someone you would become and did not. Replaying in a loop that feels less like remembering and more like sentencing. There is something almost unbearable about being fully awake for that kind of audit. Hour after hour. The promise you are auditing yourself against was first sealed over a man who was not awake for a single moment of it. You have been standing guard over a covenant. It never needed a guard. The exhaustion you feel some nights is real, and I am not telling you to talk yourself out of it. I am telling you it has been exhausting you for nothing. There is a particular ache in believing that love has to be earned back, every time you fall short of it, because it means rest is never actually available to you. There is always one more debt to service before you are allowed to exhale. You learned that logic somewhere real. A household where affection tightened and loosened, depending on performance. A friendship that kept score even when it said it didn't. A version of faith that taught you grace as a starting gift. And then quietly switched it out for a ledger the moment you sinned in a way that embarrassed you. None of that came from me. I did not write the ledger you have been living under, and I am not the one enforcing its interest rate. Your worth here is not a running